Chasin The Racin, powered by Colchester Kawasaki. Part of the Global Moto Group, we supply new Aprilia, Moto Guzzi, Vespa, Royal Enfield, Kawasaki, Sim, Mutt and Benelli motorcycles.
3, 2, 1, and welcome back to Chasin The Racin, episode 162, and we're delighted to be joined by Milo Ward. He's made the long journey up, not just from the Midlands either, because we were down at Goodwood yesterday. Yeah. So welcome to the podcast, and thanks very much for coming up to the northeast.
Thank you for having me, boys.
I tell you what, though, it's I'm just going to say it now. I'm very upset that he's now a man being a TT racer, but he's driving a Fiat 500, Chrissy. I've not gonna. Can we just talk about that? Is that yours or the other half? So the pair, and you haven't come up by yourself either. You've brought the other half Zoe up here. So God love you there.
I brought the better half up, but no, it's my mum's.
All right. So
okay, that's even worse. That's even worse. He could have stood there as a bloke and went, you know what? I like it. I like the rims. I'm leaving it. No, it's your mum's car. This is getting better.
It handles mint. Right. It's a little weapon.
I tell you what, the price of fuel these days, I bet you're glad you're driving something small like that, because like say from sort of Donington area went down to Goodwood yesterday, which is, that must be what, like 4 hours or something?
Yeah. So I met with my dad on route, so it was like an hour 15 to him, and then like another 3.5 hours down to Goodwood, but then the M25 was the M25, so we sat there for 25 minutes, did that for the day, had a mint time, headed back up. Got stuck on the M25 for like an hour and a half yesterday.
For God's sake.
Got to Zoe's at about quarter to 10, something like that. Got a few hours kiff, and then I was
straight to the Newcastle.
Straight up here then. I've exploring England throughout the day. So
now
weekend.
I tell you what, obviously we have a little bit of crack before coming on the show. I know the real reason, right, they've come up north is because Zoe informed us that she recently just passed a bike test and had a bike nicked, and there's Milo thinking, I know where the bike will be. It'll be up with them northeast twats. That's where it'll be. They're just secretly looking for them. A motorcycle. That's upsetting, mate.
What I did go to the Festival of Speed, like must have been about 6 years ago, like BC, but I haven't been recently. What was it like for the day?
Do you know what? It's the first time I've ever been. It's always one of them I was like, I'd love to go, and it was awesome. But my God, you can't get around it in a day. I was like, I'm going to spend all day, I'm going to watch the hill climb. F1 cars, all the bikes, they had all the two-strokes, Wayne Rainey going up and everything. I was like, yeah, proper. Watched for about 45 minutes. I watched the bike sessions, watched a couple of old F1 cars. I was like, oh, they've got all the new electric cars here. I'll go and have a bit of a look. Oh, they've got all this over here. And the company I work for, they've done a load of work with Lotus. So they had their one that we've all worked on, and I've done a bit of work on. So I was like, got to look at my own car, the car I know I've been involved in that. So I was looking around that, and then just so starstruck with the cars they got there. Like, it's things like, I'd never seen a Porsche 918 in person. I've walked past 3 of them sat in the car park.
I haven't even seen one on Google. Never mind in real life.
The one thing I remember from, I think it was either driving in or driving out, was just like every single car that it's just supercar after supercar after supercar, and it sort of makes you feel like it's normal to have like and then you start seeing like really nice like an Aston Martin, and you think, that's average.
It is like that. You see so many like the new DB11s or that, or Porsche 911 to that. That's shit, really. Look, over there, he's got a Lamborghini Huracan. Yeah, like that's better than yours.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it?
And then I rock about in the little Fiat 500.
I don't know, but
literally a cock measuring competition down at Goodwood. So I'm never going. I'm never ever going to go.
There's some proper class bikes though, like all the 500cc 2-strokes are there.
It does look good, to be fair. It looks mint.
You mentioned about the car that you've done some work on with your company. What I do remember seeing you years ago at I was doing a track day at Silverstone once, and when you were at college, and you were like there's a college opposite the start finish straight at Silverstone. So when we're there with BSB, we'll be out on track, and all the kids are on like break time, or like it's a college, isn't it? So
it's Silverstone UTC, so it's a Universal Technical College. So it's for year 10s, 11s, and sixth form. So I went there in sixth form. My old form room used to be one of the ones that had the balcony out the back. So if any of you guys were there, I used to like just pop out, sit and watch. During lunch, escape and come over and say hello to everyone, and then go back to school later on.
That's mad.
So yeah, I did engineering there, failed engineering there, if I'm honest. Then went to University of Wales, Trinity St David down in Swansea, and studied motorcycle engineering, so I got a BEng in motorcycle engineering.
How long's that course been active? I've got a friend who's down there at the moment. He's just passed himself, but how long has that course been active?
It's been on for a while now. It's been on for a while. There was 2 places in the UK that did it. It was Derby and then down there. And yeah, so this has been going on for... I don't know, you got Rodri Owen who works at...
Specsavers he's this year.
Is he in Specsavers this year?
Yeah, he was working for OMG last year.
Yeah, he was working for OMG.
We're talking about the race team for our listeners that have no idea what's currently like. You know what I mean? I clued out there. Went, why the fuck did he leave motorsport to go and work at Specsavers? That lazy eye, Terry's a bit fucked.
Like Leon G-Cock's team. Yeah, but I used to race with Rodri as well years ago.
Yeah, so he spanned for me back in like 2011 when I was in Super Teens. When he was studying then. Then he came and did my data in 19 when he was in Stock Fowl. He came and did all my data logging and that for me, and we went to his wedding down in was it November, I think. Yeah, went down to his wedding and everything. He's a proper top bloke.
So do you know the college that's next to Silverstone? Do people that go there, is it specialised into getting into the motorsport industry?
So it's sort of focuses on 2 things. What it did when I was there, it was engineering, so it was a really good little engineering sector. Worked closely with a lot of different companies, all that sort of stuff. And then there was also like an events management side of things, obviously hospitality, that sort of thing. It links quite well in with Silverstone. Right. So it was really cool. It was only that college had only been open. I was a second year to go, so I only lived about 29 miles away from Silverstone. So it's a bit of a commute, but
because that whole area around Silverstone with all of the Formula One teams, all of the
Motorsport Valley.
Yeah, it's complete motorsport. Like the job opportunities, it's not even just in the UK but in the whole of the world.
Oh, yeah, it's one of the best.
It's like a hub of like the finest motorsport engineering. So for if anyone's listening and like at that age of deciding whether what they want to do, there is how do you apply to go to that college?
So just on the website, so Silverstone UTC, there's got all their info on there. They're always like, anyone who's got like good potential. Like, you know at the end of year 11 normally where you sort of want to be in there. So yeah, it was really good, and it helped me progress on, because then I went and got the BEng in motorcycle and then got the masters in automotive down in Swansea. And
on that Swansea course, am I right in saying is there like a MotoGP crew chief that like runs that course or something?
So you've got several down there. So you did have Mark Griffin, who was working with Mark VDS, all that sort of stuff. But he's more of a guest sort of lecturer now. And then you got Dr. Owen Williams, who used to work for... do you remember the MotoGP WCM? Chris Burns and that used to work for. Yeah, he was all part of that sort of stuff. So, they've got some really good calibre. And then they've got all the car side of stuff as well. So
just to mention the WCM, so Steve Harris used to... make the frames for them, and it was just in MCN last week that unfortunately Steve just passed away. But Harris, I think it was like the last time that sort of a man in his garage could make like chassis for MotoGP teams. Obviously if you look through his history, like what he did during his time, so he was a hell of an engineer. But yeah, just thought I'd give it a shot.
It's a real shame for the sport. We've lost that independent sort of prototype racing now. It's all gone, which is, sidecars is probably your only place left to go. Maybe the GP2s, but again, you still need a big budget in the British
Super
GP2s.
Twins is a little bit like...
Yeah, it is. No, it is. But then even they're quite... Though. But no, but even so, that like you say, they're very much governed by what they can do with the chassis and and what they can change and what they can't. And yeah, you are right. As far as development class, there's capability, but they are governed heavily by what you can and can't do. So there's only a limit that you can reach.
Is that course big at Swansea? Is there lots of people that are into it?
Oh yeah. So
is it oversubscribed mostly, or
no? Right. There's always definitely more. You've got to have the sort of relatively decent enough grades to be able to go there, or you can do the foundation. You can go do the foundation year. So they have basically an entry. So even if you've got no A levels now, and you're getting on in life and you fancy going, I want to go and work on the bikes and that, you can go do a foundation year. As long as you pass that, you're then eligible to go into the main course. And yeah, I think my year, I may have taken first year twice, if I'm honest. So I was a bit of a drinker and a partier in the first year and didn't really concentrate very hard. I know.
No.
Elite athlete like me as well.
I don't believe it, Milo. Don't believe it for a second.
So yeah, we So I think first year, I think there was about 9 of us. And then when I went in the second year, there was like 15, 16. And all of them are good lads. Some are working in World Supersport now. Some are doing BSB. They're all over the place. So, so some, like me, I've gone into like automotive engineering. So I work for a company in Wellingborough where I grew up. Working in cars and that sort of thing. But
so why down the car route? I tell you what, I think even before we go further down here, the cheddar, they are the universal language here for our audio listeners. They are the cheddar. So, literally just the car route was financially better.
Well, so I sort of looked at it. There's a limited market in the bikes at the time when I was sort of making the decision of what shall I do my masters in to specialise in. It was like we've got Royal Enfield over here, we got Triumph, we got a few. But nothing really tickled my fancy in comparison to the car world. It's huge. It's so much, and the money that you can get paid by being an engineer in the car world is just ridiculous. Like Red Bull, when they built their powertrains department, were pretty much offering 1.5 times people's wage. You can't knock that. You can't knock that, can you? When people are willing to do that to get people to come over to their company, and that's happening left, right, and centre in the car world, I was like, well, I'd be stupid to not get in there. And also, I love my bikes, and I don't want that to be killed at all. You know what I mean? Like, bikes are my favourite things to do. I will sit at home and work on my own bikes and do all that sort of thing. But I didn't want to lose that love by maybe being in a job that wasn't perfect for me, and I didn't love it. So keep the bikes and cars separate, and I'm happy.
So like growing up then as a sports fan at this point then. So what was the separation between, because you blatantly like car racing as well. Is that a fair comment to say or not?
I love F1.
Just to have a career in the car world, you must have a huge interest in it.
If it's got engine and wheels, I'm there for it. If we were going to go and race lawnmowers or something like that, I'm there. I'd get right stuck in.
Have you ever done that?
No, I
haven't. I've seen off the side of the motorway a couple of times. How good does that look? Chrissy does not look phased at all. You've never seen lawnmower. The Americans are all like, these things are lowered hydro. Don't look for Zoe. Zoe, isn't it class? I've never seen it. You have to watch a YouTube of it.
Awesome.
Check that out.
No, they are fully suited up and everything, like fully drifting.
Doesn't
like,
sound like my cup of tea, but I'll check it out.
They're endurance racing with them and everything.
No, these aren't shitty little, you know what I mean? Like little, they are.
You haven't got to cut the grass. You haven't got to cut the grass. There is just a track. Take the blades off.
Right,
and you just race.
You're not doing crop lines, son. Where they're
doing a massive favour. Would you mind just turning the heater off? Because I'm already sweating and I'm in a t-shirt. Now,
awesome.
People that will be listening, some of them will be familiar with your name from making your debut at the Isle of Man TT this year, and we'll get onto that. But just quickly,
award-winning.
By the time when this podcast goes out, we're in a MotoGP break, so there's been a 5-week break altogether. There'll be 4 weeks from this podcast, and just before we've done this podcast, we've just watched the race from Assen. Quite a dramatic race and lots going on. Got to say, standout performance, Alicia Spargo. Yeah. Absolutely unbelievable. Probably the best overtaken manoeuvre I've seen in MotoGP, definitely this year.
Now, to be fair, Fabio made that stick. That would have been So Fabio, who did he boon off the track?
Alicia. Yeah,
of course he did.
Alicia was second, got completely wiped out, basically. Did well to stay on through the gravel, went back miles and came all the way back.
15th, weren't he, I think, on that second or third lap?
Yeah, I thought he was like completely out of the race. I was thinking if he picks up like a couple of points, he'll be doing well. And he got back up to 6th on the last lap and then dive bombed 2 into the last corner, which... If anyone that's raced at Assen, the last chicane is a difficult place to. It's quite easy to pass, but it's difficult to then get it stopped ready for the next.
It properly drags you in,
and for him to pull that off 2 in 1, to get 4th from where he was just outstanding. Obviously, Mav's first podium as well. We had Christian in on the podcast last week, but we recorded it yesterday, but last week, and he predicted Mav for his first podium. So shout out to Christian.
And we've got to give one out to Marco Pizzecchi as well. What a boy! Second place, first podium of the year.
Yeah,
rookie year MotoGP.
Rookie year, exactly. He was less than a 10th off front row start, first time at Assen on a MotoGP bike on not the factory team, so in the Rossi's team. But yeah, absolutely incredible.
We were just briefly talking about that. It was like the fact they're almost the better moments in your racing career. You know, even at club level, doesn't matter where your first podium. Not really your first particular win, because you could see it on the telly. His face was just it was like he won the world championship. It was just electric, wasn't it? And it just
achieved a life goal, isn't he? From being tiny, he's been dreaming MotoGP podium.
Yeah,
and he's done it. And now it's like, I've got to win now.
Shout out to Bagnaia as well, who on the back of quite a few crashes to go out and a pretty faultless performance to take the win. He's still miles behind in the championship, but pleased to see he's doing well for my fantasy team. So shout out to Bagnaia. Obviously, that's the most important thing.
That's all you care about with MotoGP.
I tell you what, I've got to raise a point though. As bike races, all three of us, we're massive bellends. Now the reason for that is we've all been on in a race, and it's dry all race, and the rain starts to come, and you're like, stop raining, stop raining, stop raining. Yeah, as bike fans, we're watching it, the rain starts to hit, and we're all going, go on, piss down, piss down, piss down, piss down, spice it up, spice it.
We're just totally for a Brad Binder win.
Oh God,
the flag to flags do make it interesting, to be fair. But I thought the race was good. It's interesting. Do you know the big fat, like sort of the fast tracks? A lot of them we don't have anymore. They tend to provide the best race. I know
Aston always does.
Jack Bernicle, when we had him on the podcast, was saying that every track that has a fast last corner, like Brands and the things, always provides class action. I know Aston's last corner is not particularly fast, but yeah, fast flowing track, and it's so bunched up, and the racing right across the Moto3 and Moto2 was good. Shout out to Jake Dixon, British Jake Dixon, who got another podium, so well done to Jake. Unfortunately, Sam had a bit of a disaster, like a proper disaster. I don't actually know what happened there. And John McPhee did decent as well, got stuck in. You'll have missed the Moto3.
I was driving up here.
Committed. Thank you for coming up, by the way.
Spoiler alert, but yeah.
Watching it now.
Sorry, I'm making a complete fool of myself. I'm saying he did well. He was doing quite well in the race.
I'm going to ruin it for you now.
He crashed last lap.
He's having a struggling year, isn't he, poor John?
Yeah, with injuries. And it's one of them, though, where he always seems to get a top ride, and you always think, right, this is going to be his year. And it just hasn't happened for him.
He must be getting too old now, though. There's an age limit in Moto3, isn't there?
Is there?
I think it's like 26.
Oh, no, he's older than that.
So I always thought it was 26 and you had to move out of Moto3 and go to Moto2, or...
As far as I know, I
wonder if there is an age limit, or we're speculating on that. You know what I mean? I actually personally haven't sat down.
So can you check that up? Is there an age limit in Moto3? Because can you remember when Nicole Terol was in 1.5s? He was getting on a little bit older when he was winning.
His wife was probably bollocking him. That's why
but he had like Hector Farbell as well, wasn't he? He was getting on a bit when he was in it. But
I'm not sure if there is.
I'm sure they were forced to move up to Moto2.
Because in BSB there are age limits, aren't there?
In
28.
Junior Superstar race.
There we go.
Mandatory age limit of 28.
Oh, that means I bet John McPhee's 28 this year, because he's definitely older than me.
Yeah.
There we are, 28. So, like, what about BSB? So, like,
It's
British
20
talent, got to be an age limit.
Is it 18 for British Talent Cup? Is it like 13 to 18?
We have turned into the Joe Rogan show. We have someone on the laptop, on the phone, like, Zoe, you are flat out in a minute here.
I know stock 6 is 16 to 25.
Yes.
And then I think Junior Supersport's 12 or 13
How
to
old's Adam
22.
McLean?
I couldn't imagine doing...
Last year, he did it, but he has not done it this year, has he?
McAdoo are looking for someone. Have you put your name in the hat? That was a bit of fresh news that we haven't talked about. Adam McLean and McAdoo Racing have split.
Right.
And that's like, it's McAdoo bloody Racing. It's one of the big, arguably, it is one of the biggest teams in Northern Ireland's history. Mm-hmm. And at the moment, they're pilotless.
Have they got much
Milo Ward.
Well, they had another Irish chap testing over in Ireland. They'd also...
Hold on.
Was it McManus or someone like that? They had
have no
testing
idea.
At Bishop's Court or something.
Have they got many more races to do? Because obviously all the
You've got Armoy, Mid-Antrim, Southern. You've got a few more down. You've got Skerries coming up as well. 1450. There's a few.
Is this your whole plan to compete at all them?
So the original plan was to compete in all the ones down south as well as the ones up north.
I've not done the ones any down south, and it breaks me hard. I've just run out of brass.
Yeah, well that's my problem. So I'm going to do Armoy. I'm going to go and have a crack at Armoy.
Fucking lucky.
I'm going to go and have a crack at Aberdare, just for shits and gigs.
Never done Aberdare.
It's a 37.
Aberdare.
Yeah, that's what everyone tells me. It's like 37-second lap or something, and it's probably going to rain because it's South Wales. But it'll be a good laugh. And then I'm desperately hoping Oliver's Mount, we have a race there, because I've never been. I don't even go to watch. I always want to go and have a go.
Right.
So I'm hoping that comes up. And then I'm probably going to do like the Mid-Antrim 150 if I got enough in the bank.
I've never done Mid-Antrim, but if I get oh, that's a good point. I'm out the window. No, leading up to this point, I'm leading the Supersport 600 Championship because I'm missing Armoy. I haven't kissed that dream goodbye, which is a damn shame. But Mid-Antrim will be a part of the Northern Irish Championship.
Yeah.
I'm a suit now holding. I've been Zoe, check. No, I'm joking,
No, it is because I was in the senior support,
Yeah.
and the 4 rounds for that championship was Cookstown, Tandragee, Armoy, and Mid-Antrim.
Yeah.
But I'm jumping up to Supersport at Armoy.
Because you've done the TT.
Because I've done the TT. I wanted to be in Supersport before, but they wouldn't let me because I'd never done a road race. But now, because I have done the TT and done an international, I don't think I'm allowed back in senior support. So I put entry in for Supersport and they let me.
What was your opinion on that? Not throwing punches or anything like that, but it's because of your experience on the track, like competing at the highest level this country can deliver. Did you feel like you should have had a right just to be in the deep end?
I asked. So basically, when I first saw it was wanting to come over, I was like, right, I want to go in Supersport because my thoughts were Supersport's full of national level riders. Right?
Yes,
they can all ride a bike very well, and they can battle, and also I can jump onto the back, follow. They've got experience and learn.
Yes.
Senior support. My thoughts were, and I don't want to upset anyone because there are some awesome riders, and I didn't win or anything like that in senior support. I won't even claim to, but I didn't know how much I could trust the riders.
Yeah.
Whereas in Supersport, I knew some of the riders anyway, and I was like, they're not going to wipe me out for I'm in 8th and he wants 8th. He's not going to do that. That's Whereas I weren't sure in senior support, but it was like, but the boys, to be fair, were all dead good. I was racing with. Well, we lost over at Kells Jack.
Yeah.
So I was racing up against him, and he was awesome. He was a really, really good rider.
Yeah, 100% agree.
Bit loose. And
he was pushing, wasn't he?
He was pushing, and he was proving he was a quick lad.
Yes,
and he was, and he really is, and so that sadly it's sort of similar to the Malachi, Mitchell Thomas sort of thing. Really good would be one of the best, but a mistake, and that's sort of it.
Like I tell you what, I feel like we're skipping massive chapters of all this. It's a bit like I think we're gonna have to go down.
We've not even talked about the time I bought Chrissy Rouse's Mitch. Right, that's a key moment in my racing career.
Go back. Let's go. I tell you what, I feel like we borderline don't want to do it. That's the truth. We don't want to do the whole, how did you get into racing? What was your ambitions at the time? I think we should just go straight into it. Like, you know what I mean? Just
We've had quite a similar sort of path through, really, from like as in you bought my Metricate to do Metricate 70s, and then I think you bought my Aprilia as well the year after.
I might have bought one of them or something.
No wonder you knew how to get here. You practically knew it blindfolded.
To be fair, we picked it up at a service station.
Yeah. In fact, it's one of
that was last minute. That was.
It's one of them where the Metricate was. Yeah. But then the Super Teen bike, it was the year that I'd won the Super Teens, and Milo, before the last round, had agreed to buy it. But then I had a problem with one of my bikes, and I had to race the bike you were taking away. So I literally raced it the last day. And it's one of them where you kind of want to go for the win, but you don't want to leave. And rolled round, and you took it away from the last round.
Yeah, I think so.
Was he like 7'8" at that age as well? Like just looking at you over the fence, going, "Crash my bike, don't break your legs." You know what I mean?
But
that'd be horrible.
I mean, up until the usual route, like sort of stock 6 and up to stock 1000, up till this year, just gone. It's all been short circuits.
All short circuits.
The hair gel's still in there.
Yeah,
that's it.
Although I'm not wearing the sunglasses.
And then
I'm medically bound to these fucking things, right? This is karma biting me right in the arse. Yeah, I'm telling you.
Talk us through the process of going from like a short circuit racer to an international TT rider.
Yeah, that sounds
that's
saucy,
scary, isn't it?
That's saucy, that, isn't it?
Well, when did you first sort of think about it?
The TT is something. The roads and the TT was one of something I wanted to do for donkeys. It was always sort of thing, but my problem was I kept throwing bikes up the road. I just kept crashing bikes when I was like 18, 19. I'd jump on a 600, I'd go as hard as I can, and then all of a sudden the bike's 16 foot in the air and I've smashed up another one, and I'm like that. So my aim was I needed to wait until I was at the right point to go and race the roads. You can't.
And in your mind, were you waiting to sort of stop crashing, like be able to race competitively without crashing a lot?
Exactly.
And then you thought that's the time that
I just wanted to make sure that I was sort of going to be safe. I don't want to, as much as I love all my bike racing, I don't fancy losing my life to it.
Yeah.
So I wanted to be as safe and as fast as I could be. Learn to be able to ride the bike well, and then sort of COVID hit. Because that year, 2020, I was planning on doing maybe an Oliver's Mount or something like that.
I tell you what, this reminds me, right? You know, this is before I met you. I properly first met you was at Brands Hatch, and you're on the ZX10 kind of thing. But I saw your post prior to that, and you photocropped your face on the Hickman and a load of other riders, and I remember flicking through this going, what a bell end. And then as I love being proved wrong, you're a lovely. I haven't said that in a few weeks. Well, you are a lovely lad, mind. You know what I mean? So it's like, but that Hickman thing, what a bell end. I was howling, mind.
Do you know what? When that was supposed to happen, I was supposed to be getting on the ferry to go for my first laps of the Isle of Man.
Right.
And doing some laps with Milky and Johnny. And my boat got cancelled. So I was well, I guess I'm not going because the weather's too bad.
Yeah.
So I was but I really want to start to, I was I need to find some sponsorship from somewhere. I need to start posting up that I'm doing it. And I was
class.
And I was just sort of scrolling through and I saw this photo of Hickey from years ago. I was I could really shitly Photoshop my face on that. Because I've got no computer skills that wise. I just use Snapchat, right, and cut it out, my face out of another one, and just went... Brilliant.
You just slap that on.
I just thought it was a really
it was good crack. It was good
Was
crack.
that your way of announcing that you were going road racing?
Yeah. That's how I did it. So, because I wanted to do TT. I didn't think I was in the right point. I was like, I'll go and do a like Oliver's Mount or something like that in 2020. Obviously, that didn't happen. And then last year, I took 2020 out. I didn't race a bike once. I did one track day and spat myself clean off at coming through the foggy S's, and I was like, fucking hell, I've managed to lose. We've had 7 months off racing, and I've managed to lose all the ability to ride a motorcycle. I was like, this isn't looking good. And then 2021 came back in, and the GNS were like, who I was riding for at the time, were like, are you coming back? I was like, yeah, bugger it. But this time I'd let myself go. I became much even bigger than I am now, and was drinking all the time. I was like, right, I'll get back into it. I was like, I'll go buy a motocross bike. So I jump on the motocross bike, go out a load of times, started to lose some weight, get fit again. Then I launched the motocross bike straight into a bush and have a twig go straight through my right arm. Yep. And I lost, it was only a little one. Don't get me wrong, it was only like sort of 3.5 inches long and then 4 or 5 mil. But it went straight in, just there.
Oh, lovely.
And I could just feel it sticking down through the bottom. And I just lost for like 3 weeks. So I missed Knock Hill, Cadwell, a few other races last year.
And GNS, is that the stock?
Yeah,
ZX10 I saw you at. Right,
yeah. So I ended up losing the movement in my wrist for a couple of weeks and couldn't move my hand. I had no strength. I came back to Brands Hatch at one point, and we had to turn the power down in the ECU just like so I could go 100% throttle, and the bike just put the power in for me.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't able to move my wrist like I needed to be able to control the bike. So then I took another 2 weeks out. I went right. I was doing my master's disc. Everything was just sort of going wrong. I was like, I've had enough of this shit. I've had enough. And time to go roads. I was like, that's what I want to do. I'm going to go and find the love and the enjoyment back in my bike racing. So I was like, let's go roads. Me and Dad bought a bike, and here we are now.
I was about to say, but your first roads was Cookstown, is that right?
It was Cookstown.
Well, let's talk through that bit. Let's talk through your first road experience. So you've gone from the glamour of BSB, everything, toilets on every corner, flat tarmac, and here we go. And then Cookstown, gravel car park, one pisser between us all, and everyone with a smile and willing to help you out. Let's talk about that.
Can I just jump in just before you ask about I just want to ask about have your parents been involved in road racing, or your family? Or
so my family, we never, no racers or anything like that. I found out now that a great uncle or something down the line did the TT in the early 50s.
Wow.
So
but we only found
your parents are blaming him. Is that the plan? This has come from somewhere.
I think
come from somewhere.
When I was younger, we used to always watch the MotoGP and that, and the TT, and all the bikes. My dad was just a big bike fan, had a road bike, never raced. Did the odd track day, I'd go along, and then we got mini motos. You do all that sort of stuff. So we were just going in blind every sort of step of the way. It was just me, my dad, and my brother at the start. So going, right, what do we do? I remember turning up to a race meeting, not even knowing about what wets were, and it was at Wilton Mill, and I went out on this little Conti V2 So before I bought your Metric, it was on a Conti V2. It was the older bike compared to everyone else's. I'm on dries. It's chucking it down with rain at Wilton Mill. I've set off at the back of the grid because I was slow. Got to third by the time I got to the top right-hand corner.
In the rain.
In the rain, on my dries, and then swiftly spat myself clean out the top. So we just sort of like learnt everything as we went along. Just sort of ploughed on through. Dad learnt how to spanner a bike and do all the mechanicking and that sort of
Bloody
thing.
hell.
And when you decided to go road racing, did you sort of have to persuade your parents first, or was it
Yeah, that's a very good question. At what point did you actually go, right, I'm actually going to go downstairs and tell him?
Well, I've always mentioned it that I wanted to do it, and my dad's always been like...
Laughed it off almost.
Yeah, and my mum's been like, won't talk about it. So we never spoke about it. And then sort of was like, right, I want to do this. I'm going to tell him, and I'm also going to tell him, if you're not going to come with me and help me, I'm just going to go and buy a like SV 650 or something cheap. Go in the back of my van, because I actually do drive a van normally, but it's...
Try to get some man points back there. Very well done.
Yeah. It's currently broken. Real man points.
Real man points there.
So yeah, I was like, I'm going to go and do it myself. I was like, you can either come with me. I'll be brutally honest, I have no idea how I would have made it work myself, me on my own on a Super Twin. I had no clue what I was going to do, but I said that's what I'd do. And my dad was like, are you sure you really want to do this? And I was like, yeah. I was like, I want to go and experience, at least, I might go to the first race and go, nah, that is not for me.
Okay, realistically, you saying that out loud to your parents, you know what I mean? You're saying this
was
like
never
now.
gonna happen, was
it
it?
was never going to happen, was it?
No, never.
You either look at it and go,
You say that people do go to the
Yeah,
TT and it's
people-
not for them,
but in the same breath, no, it is a very valid, fair point, and everyone has the right for that. And if someone does turn up to the TT and go, it's not for me, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
But in the same breath, if you've truly looked at, there's people look at it and go, I'll give that a go, and then there's people that look at it and go, I need to do that, and the people that look at it and go, I need to. It would take a hell of a lot to, you know what I mean, though.
I completely agree. A lot of the boys, from what I understand, when you just come into the road scene, is the ones who sort of come and decide they weren't wanting to do it, were normally being sort of helped to get there, paid to get there, rather than risk, like willing to go and do it.
Mm.
And then it's always the ones like the people who are the most dedicated in the road scene. It's not that it's, obviously you got all the top boys and that, but it's the ones the little privateers at the back running like classics and that, who have been doing like Cookstown, Tandragee and Almoy for 40 odd years, and they've in the same like vans and all sorts, and they're the ones who are like properly there. They don't care about it. They just love it. They love it, and big respect for that. But yeah.
And yeah, so once you explained that to your dad, was he...
Yeah, dad was... my dad's an absolute bloody legend. Like, he just loves bikes and loves the enjoyment of going racing. Like, he never got to do it. He's, people might say he's like trying to live your dream, but it was always me driving us, and he's just like there like that. Yeah, come on, let's do it. So yeah, we bought this R6. It was a 2015 R6, and we're like, right, we'll go through it during the winter then. What's the first road race? I was like, I don't have a clue. I don't know. I was like, I know the TT's here. I know the Northwest here. The Ulster should be here, but it's not here at the moment.
You did the Northwest this year, didn't you?
No.
You didn't know, I remember. Yeah, I was wondering.
I wanted to, but I got no time off left for work.
Yeah.
And the R6 I've got no spare engines.
Mm-hmm.
I got no nothing. I sort of know a bit of the history of the bike, but not everything. I've not had it rebuilt, and I was at Northwest. I'm a big lad anyway. I've got one engine that's in the bike.
Yeah.
It's not really worth it.
for the TT?
Yeah. Well, the TT, I wasn't going to go to the TT, but I'll tell you that in a minute. I won't get ahead of myself there. Mm-hmm. The TT stories you'll enjoy. But yeah, so yeah, he was like, okay. So I went on like Real Road Racing Ireland, that sort of website and that, and was like, right. And then the calendar was out. I was like, Cookstown. Okay, I'll put the entry in. So I put an entry in, and I was like, I best have a look at the onboard lap here. I looked at the onboard lap and went...
You blinked, they are done.
I was like, oh, okay. And then, so I picked a load more out, and then, do you know Chris Green?
Mm-hmm.
So he's done a few roads on like the Northwest a few times. And good friends of him. He's a top bloke. He's anyone. He's absolutely all over the place all the time, but he's a top fella. And I was like, we just sort of spoke briefly before last year about it, and he was like, rang me. He was like, "Are you doing any roads?" I was like, "Yeah, are you?" He was like, "Yeah." So I was like, "Well, why don't we sort of like be two teams, but be a team together?"
Yes, aye.
So
Makes sense.
we got all the bikes like painted up and that the same, but we sort of run out of separate awnings, but next to each other. And yeah, me and him jumped in the van, got the ferry over to Ireland, Northern Ireland, and went to every track. We did about 700 miles in 2 days. It was snowing, and we were just driving around. We got to Cookstown, 4 laps. Right, we've done Cookstown, then off to Tandragee, 4 laps. Down to Skerries, 4 laps. Just did that around, and then we got the ferry back. It was like, well, I think we're prepared then. Yeah, definitely.
We've got this. 100% we've got
Lap
this.
record, second lap, easy.
I tell you, no, but see, I was actually going to ask you that. Like, the experience of running at a high, like, you know, that, like, British level, you know what I mean? You can put lap times in, competitive lap times. There's no two ways about it. No, but you can, though. You know what I mean? So, like, going to a track like that, you obviously can learn, you can pick things up. So, when you went road racing, the Cookstown's a perfect example.
Yeah.
It's small. It's actually the smallest track on the whole place. But how hard was it to learn?
To know where to go left and right, I've never had a problem with. Like,
Yes.
any sort of track. You know, in the first couple of laps, you can pick that up.
Yeah.
The bit we like Cookstown is as a newcomer, as you all know, when you turned up newcomer at Tandragee, you know, you do 5 laps, right, and then you go into 5 laps of qualifying, and then a race.
Yeah.
So when I first rocked up, I had my R6, but I could only ride in Sunni support, and had one of Chris's. Chris has got an old SV 650. It's a Carby 650. He's got no work done to it. It's an ex-road bike. Put
Proper
some fairings
bike.
on it. 62 horsepower.
On a good day.
With the wind behind you on the dyno. And off we went, and 5 laps to go learn the place. I don't even know who I was following around. And I didn't realise you could overtake as well, because I was, you go off in the groups of 3. So they put me at the back. I'm at the back of this little train. Oh, the person in front of me, like, no disrespect at all, but this bloke was leading us.
No homework.
Just buggered off. And
It wasn't John Burrows by any chance, was it?
Is that did you have him at
Lucky for me, I was riding one of his bikes, so I think I think John went, "You're following me." I'm like, "Right, John." Not only reason John kept looking behind him was to make sure I didn't crash his fucking bike.
I had Cookstown, I can't remember. Yeah, I followed this in round, and I was like, yeah, I think I know where I'm going now. So qualifying comes up. First qualifying's on the 600, I think.
Yeah.
I'm like, mint, right, here we go. Off I went, and I was like, oh shit, there's a lot more bumps here than I thought. You didn't feel them until I was going at pace. I was like, all right. And then I tipped into a corner, and I was like, shit, that's a wall. I was like, I'm going to have to get used to this at some point. Like, this is how it is. And then there was like, you came out of, is it McAdoo Corner at Cookstown? And it's just covered in shit.
Yep.
Like, the whole thing is just covered in absolute shit. Like, slurry and all sorts. I was like, are we sweeping this? I'm like, yeah, we swept this like 6-7 times this morning. This is the best it gets. I was like, and I was like, suddenly I came to the realisation this wasn't BSB anymore. I was like, right. And then heading up the hill, and there's the jump. And I take off for the first time, and I land on that.
That's never happened before.
Well, no, I landed. I was like, yes, this is it now.
Yeah.
And I just fell in love. I hated Cookstown. Oh no, I didn't hate Cookstown. I was wrong. I loved Cookstown until I went to Tandragee then.
Yes.
The week afterwards, and I was like, absolutely fell in love with Tandragee. What a place! The track is incredible. The jumps, the corners. Cookstown was so like stop start. It was like going and racing. I don't know, like Mallory or Darley Moore or something. I love Darley Moore, but it was like that sort of go as fast as you can, stop. Go as fast as you can, stop. And as a big lad, those accelerations aren't where I'm strong.
You perfectly described that there, because when you go road racing, it's not learning. It's every time you go that little bit quicker, something massively changes, and that's what I like about. But short circuits, the atmospherics don't change unless it rains. You know what I mean? It's every time you go in, the track is always consistent. It's the rider that makes it different. But you add 10 mile an hour on a road circuit, a bump becomes a jump.
Yeah.
An off camber becomes a ski slope, and then you've got a jump that it is interesting.
Every lap you just learn something new So I took a real sensible approach. I just went, right, I'm going to go out, go learn the track, and then every lap I'll just find myself half a tenth, half a second, and just chip. There was not one point that I think I'm pushing it now.
Yeah.
Every time I was going out, cruising around, because I've got more years where I can learn and go quick there. This first one, I just needed to get around and figure it all out.
Being totally honest, right now, in those 2 meetings, did you have any moments that you thought, ooh?
Cookstown, I had one. Tandragee, I had one.
Yep.
The Cookstown one was up over the jump.
Yep.
I took off, and as I was coming up, I was like, I just need to, because obviously Kink's left at the top.
Yes.
I was like, I'll just put a little bit of angle in as I'm coming up, and then I'll sit it up as I get to the top. I forgot to sit it up.
Whoop, bang.
And it just went sideways, and it landed, and I went lock to lock.
Yeah.
And I was like, shit, it was the first race in senior support on the second lap. And I was like, I think I started in the second wave, and on the first lap I was third overall in the senior support.
In the times, yeah.
In the timing, and then I took off at the top of this jump and then quickly dropped back down again because I sort of shit myself a little bit. And then Tandragee, the Friday was awesome, and then it rained.
Oh yes.
So I went out in the senior support. I think I was like third on the grid, on the junior support. So I think I was third on the grid on this little shitty SV that Chris has lent me. I was having a mint time. It's road shift and I run race shift, so I'm flicking backwards and forwards. And I've gone out, I was like second going onto the back straight. I was like, I can do this. I love the wet. The wet has always been like my sort of thing, and I was scared, and I was like, I can do this. All these twins came flying past me then because it's so underpowered. I was like, right, I'll get them back going through the, because you've got that left, right, haven't you?
Yeah.
At the end of the back straight before you get to the that real tight right-hander. You've got the left, right, fast kink chicane.
Yeah. And
I've gone, yep. I've rolled it in, gone across, front wheels touched the white line, and it just went
folded.
I just went, back on the power, sat it up. I was like, mega, save that, no worries. And then there's the grass on the outside because you've got the negative camber on the way back out, and then all of a sudden I'm like 5 mil, 6 mil away from the grass. I'm
Was it quite hard for you to switch off that BSB mentality? Because you know yourself, when you lads find gaps that no mere mortals can. If you know what I mean, you're going in and you have to make it squeeze. You have to sit, and that's how you used to. No, but you all can't. Look, hold on. Look, right. Do not be beating yourself up like I do, right? But because you're always going right to the point. But in roads, you have to give that respect element and really, like you just said, and it's great to hear coming from you that you have to plan. You have to plan a pass really quite early on in the race.
You have to know it's going to be safe, don't you?
But then, as a racer, was it quite hard to coming down like going into the bomb hole. If you get a nice drive, the road's actually quite wide. You wouldn't dare do someone on the inside there, but arguably there is space for two.
Yeah.
But was that quite hard to switch off for you, or was that never a problem?
It was never a problem because I was probably, my best bits on short circuit was always like a wet session or a dodgy session. And I'd go out and just chip away, and by the end, even in stock foul, I'd normally be near the front in the wet. And that's because I just like to chip away. That sheer, like, take your brain out thing, I've never really managed to do. Once I started, like, stopping the crashing, that sort of sheer mentalness of just, I'm going to shove this up here and hope it sticks, sort of went more to the back, and it was more, right, I'll just approach it like intelligently, like I'll just chip, and in enough time I'll be fast.
Yeah.
So that sort of mentality was more my mindset even on the short circuit. So going over to the roads, I was like, this is going to suit me actually, because this is my mentality. That's a mentality I need to, I need to learn it, respect it, and then I'll be fast. Whereas if I just took the straight up short circuit,
no, it's just because we don't get many. Like you look at. Like, you see, Harrison was a road racer before he went into the BSB paddock. But you see, then you're looking, it's not old news, but like you look at Hickman now. He never did an Irish, he never did an Oliver. He literally just went straight in. But he didn't even do the Northwest. Is that right? He went straight to the TT. Well, anyway, it's one of those facts. But like that mentality, he had the separation of the gap, and he never had to actually think different. But you see, with you going into the Irish scene, that would have been a lot different because, to be blunt, a lot of your calibre can ride a bike, and you think you're going into that scene thinking, did you feel that pressure? Did you ever feel that like
I felt
people
the pressure.
expect of me? Yeah.
I felt that. I definitely thought. I remember it was I think you know him, that Hardy Breed on Twitter.
Oh, he's ruthless.
Well, when I went to Cookstown, he questioned why I was in senior support.
All right.
He was like, he's got a TT entry. Why is he in senior support? And I was like, I replied like that. I didn't have a choice. They told me this is what I needed to do, so this is what I've gone and done.
Yeah.
And then obviously I think I got like 7th in senior support, and then Tandragee never ran because of the rain.
Yes.
And at the TT, I think about the 3rd day of practice, or 4th day, I'd just done 120.
Which is outstanding,
And
by the way.
Thank you. That was my aim. It was 120, so I was chuffed. But I look on Twitter, and I see a tweet from him. I'm not tagged in it or anything, and he's at Milo Ward's just done like 120 mile hour. And it was a real backhanded comment. He was like, seeing him on the Irish roads, I weren't expecting much from him, but that was really it was really good. And I was like, well, I just tweeted back something along the lines of like, over at the TT, I've done all my homework and I've put hours and hours hours to learn it.
You could see that. How many trips did you do? No wonder you haven't got any work holidays left. You spend all your time on the bloody Isle of Man.
I've got no money either.
They are. How many trips did you do?
I did three or four. How many times? We went twice, didn't we? And then I did one more on my own. And I went and stayed at...
And these were over 2 days, 3 days, or just a day there and back?
2 days. Normally,
2 days.
Apart from when we went on the bank holiday weekend.
Yeah.
And were you doing it in a car or on a bike?
So I'd fly over, they'd sort me out a rental car, and do it that way. And then the time we went over the bank holiday, we rode up on my road bike up to Heysham and got the ferry over. Liverpool, got the ferry over, and I took my bike round.
And running into doing your first TT, was it a case of, did you just get in touch with the organisers and
So,
stuff?
Sort of coming towards the middle of last year is when I started like trying to find people who could tell me who I needed to speak to.
Yeah.
Rob Hodson, Josh Daly, those, I do with Darley Moore and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
They're real good lads and they're real good road riders.
100%.
And they were like, I asked him and he was like, you need to email Paul Phillips. So I did. I sent an email to Paul Phillips, said, look, I want to come in 2023. Just wanted to, put my interest forwards and that. And then he sort of said, we've got a TT simulator that we're developing. Oh, you've been on it,
I've been on it, yeah.
Well, I was the first person to go on it.
Right.
He was like, so we've got this thing coming up. It's going to be sort of helping newcomers. Do you fancy getting up there and go and have a go? I was like, yeah, bugger it, why not? It's only going to help my learning.
Yes.
Ready for 2023.
Yeah.
So off I went. I jumped on with Barty. He's a top lad. He's a class bloke. And he was like, right, we've set the master lap. You jump on. How much do you know? I was like, I went over in 2019 for the first time. I played a bit of the game. I've watched the YouTube videos in awe. I probably know it sort of 45% of the course. I know where I am, like the big corners, Balagary.
At this point, sweat's running off. You're thinking, here we go.
And so I was like, all right, I'll jump on. And I jumped on and I did the first lap, which is the Barty lap, isn't it? It's the Barty lap. You sort of lean the bike, throttle it, brake it. I got around, I think I ended up with like 86%, something like that. And he was like, I thought you said you didn't know very well. I was like, I guess I know it slightly better than I thought.
Yeah, which is good, yeah. But bear in mind, it's like, the motor trainer that you and Storm Stacey did.
Yeah.
Like the mechanicized one.
Yeah.
So like throttle trace, brake, everything. So it actually pitches and drives and you've got the throttle. And it's on that simulator around the TT. So Barton set that up. So for you to do that, and it's a point system.
Whose lap is it, sorry?
Joe Barton,
isn't it?
John Barton.
John Barton. So he's part of the organisers of the TT.
Right.
And he seeded riding the Super Twins. Seriously, he knows that place. Like, he could do it. He could literally do it blindfolded.
Is that Danielle's dad?
Yes, Yeah. So he knows every part.
Actually went out for food with him on at the TT.
There we are then. So like he set the master lap, and for you to track, because it goes off prediction.
When you're getting on the gas and braking and lean angle in comparison to what he did on his lap.
To get that score is really impressive because you're trying to mimic a ghost in that lap. So for you to
Yeah,
actually,
you just got to try and ride, haven't you?
but you're not going to get that percentage if you just came into a corner and just went twat like on the full throttle. You've actually got like union males who gear out and feed it in. Oh, there's 100, and that's really impressive.
Yeah, no, and that, I was like, yeah, mega, and that was
Sign me up.
And he was like, he just sort of said to me, you know, off record, he was like, why aren't you doing it this year? He was like, clearly you know it more than you think you do. I was like, I'll be honest, I haven't got, obviously we've only got the R6. I was like, I ain't got a bike, I ain't got a team, I don't know how it all works. I'm going in completely blind.
Mm-hmm.
And he just said to me, like, email Paul Phillips and that.
Yeah.
And he might be able to help you and find you a team that are maybe looking for a rider, and you just come in. So I was like, yeah, okay. So I sent Paul an email, and then a few weeks later, it was like 10 o'clock at night, I got a phone call from Barty. He said, we think we found you a ride. I was like, what? He was like, yeah, I think I found you a ride for the TT. An email's coming through. It'll give you an email of who you need to speak to. Try and get over and see him. So this was sort of, end of January. I was like, sound.
I'm going to get this wrong. Is it the DP team?
It's TC Racing.
That's it.
By DP Coldplaning.
Got you. Thank you. They are.
Big shout out to them. Absolute legends, all of them. But we'll get to them. They sort of like. So I sent them an email and I was like, oh, no, don't know what I'm doing. This is what I've done before. And he was like, yeah, cool. Why don't you come over? Because the team have had some class riders like Cam Donald, Gary Johnson.
I was about to say the fact that you're not Australian.
David Johnson has done it for him.
Julian Trummer. Who else?
Jock and who we lost.
Paul Jordan.
Yeah, Paul Jordan.
Paul Jordan's another one. I was about to say like their ambition. Like I think I don't know them that well, but like I know.
The whole point is to get
newcomers
in and give them a real solid first experience at the TT and build their career. And clearly it works. Some of their riders, like Julian's doing 124, 125 mile an hour. Paul Jordan's just got on the bloody podium in the Super Twins.
I think, is this a Manx team?
Yes, Isle of Man based in Onchan on the Isle of Man.
Bright blue fairings, white wheels. It's always been the same, it looks like.
Bike's awesome.
Were you on the new Fireblade?
I was, yeah.
See, they are. And 600 Ys.
Didn't ride one.
Literally just on the big bike?
Just on a big bike.
Now, I was speaking to Glenn Irwin about that, so I tell you what, we're gutted to have Glenn Irwin as like a newcomer that year. Let's face it, be honest.
Yes and no.
Fastest newcomer. Damn you, Glenn. Damn you.
So, yes, I was gutted, but also at the same time, all the press and that were on Glenn. No one was bothered about me. So that, like, the first night of practice, I did 116.5 mile an hour, which, if Glenn wasn't there, would have been the fastest ever newcomer's first night of practice. I beat Adam Lyons' record. It was a mile an hour quicker than Hickey and 2 mile an hour quicker than Brooksy on my first night. But because Glenn went and did 121, no one gave a shit.
No, okay, I'm going to be honest. To do that lap speed straight out the box, was that easy or was that how tense were you? You know, how like locked in? Like I bet, like how melted were you?
No,
So I'm still getting melted now. That doesn't change, by the way.
But you know, like when you're with, obviously you guys know Davey Todd. So I spoke to him beforehand, and he said it on these sort of things. He's not tried around the TT. He's never properly gone for it. He was like, I go out for a Sunday cruise, and I always thought bollocks. No offense to Davey if you're listening, like absolute bollocks. You got to try every time you go on a bike. You go out and try.
Of course you do.
But I went out and I was like, I am just going to go for a Sunday ride, especially on these first few nights. And that mentality stuck with me the whole 2 weeks. Not once did I try.
Bite the screen.
Yeah. Every corner I came out, I had 3 or 4 foot of room. And the jumps, I was nice and safe with space. I didn't risk anything. There was no need to. I was like, I don't know what's coming up next fully. As in, like, I knew the corner that was coming up, or the kink. But that bump and jump that was there last time might now be a lot more because I am carrying half mile an hour more. So not at one point did I think, I'm going to go for it. I'm just gonna cruise around. Milky says it, like, classical music is how you want to be going around the TT. Is what he's taught me when we were doing the laps, and that's what I just tried to do. Just cruise around, go for it, and it just sort of.
Other than the that bit of advice about classical music and being things, what was the best advice that you got given before your first lap?
For my first lap, I don't. The main bit everyone always said was just like, go out and have fun.
Do you know when you were lining up to go out for your foot, what was like, was anything sort of ringing through your head? Like any sort of message or any sort of things?
The whole time, I said this to Milky, the whole 2 weeks, when riding around, all I can hear was Milky's voice in my head. Right, we're coming up here. You drive there. You see that bungalow over there. You come up, pop out the screen, go back a gear into the left, get on the gas, wheelie. Whoa, and that's all I could hear the whole time I was going around. I didn't even know what gear I was in. just like Milky piss off out my head. But it's it was that him drilling that into you.
And did you feel really well prepared before your first lap?
Yeah,
I did as much as I could, and I think that I played countless hours of the game. It was the best excuse ever. Got home from work, I was still living with the parents. They're like, "What are you doing tonight? Playing Xbox."
It's not fun. It's work.
This is saving my life, right? You let me play this too.
Don't be selfish, mother. Bring me a coffee.
So I did all of that. I watched as much as I could, and I did the trips. Some people sit and go over and do 40, 50 laps per trip over there. I don't know about how you took it, Dom, when you were learning. I did 3 laps, 4 laps a day. And on a weekend, I'd get maybe 7, 8, 12 laps if I was doing a long weekend.
Yeah.
So in total, I probably only did 8 official laps with Milky and Johnny. I did 3 laps on the bike and probably 15 laps in the car.
Was the bike beneficial to ride around on, being honest? It's me personally, I would never hand that advice out. No, and the bike. To go around there on a motorbike, I just don't like, because obviously you've got to obey the speed limits. You're not using both sides of the road. Yeah. It's my, but what's your opinion on that? Would you hand that advice out?
I found it useful because when you were on the left, like on the parts of the track you do ride on the left-hand side of the road, it sort of was more recognisable. But it was more than anything, it was getting the perception of the danger. Because when I'm in the car, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You're driving around the car, you're in a big metal box, you feel invincible.
You can tell he's a car engineer, Chrissy.
But on the bike, when I was riding around the bike, even if you're out on the road on the road bikes, you feel more vulnerable, and you're driving for everyone else.
Do you know? I've only just started doing a little bit of a few road miles over the last sort of month or so, and a couple of months ago I had Gavin Emmett on the podcast. And he mentioned his favourite quote from a book, and it was something to do with when you're in a car, it's like watching a movie of the world through the windscreen, and when you're on a bike, you feel like you're in the movie. And I remember thinking, that's quite a cool thing, but I didn't really understand it.
When you
the other day, I was riding along on the bike, and I had to pop down from Coventry. I was heading down to somewhere near London, and I was riding along, and I thought about that thing, and I thought, bloody hell, that's so true. You've
got to ride for everyone else, and that sort of vulnerability was like that. Although when I'm racing around there, I'm not going to be thinking, there's a tractor pulling out on me now. But knowing that I can't tip in at Greba Bridge here because of that, the wall is there. Even when you're riding around, that wall's on your left. I can't get any closer to that, and you feel that there, and you start to feel a little bit of the bumps. Like the bumps in the car, you barely felt. On my road bike, I felt them a bit more. Nothing as bad as they were in real life or at racing speed, but I found it beneficial. But I didn't speed or anything like that. I went over, and there was they just put the TT speed limits into place.
Right.
And when I took my bike over, so it was 40 mile an hour everywhere. Yeah. Until I got to the mountain. Then I got to the mountain, and granted, I did what everyone does up over the mountain. On the left-hand side. I took the missus round. She's running them 2 full-run mountain laps with me.
And you're still together. Well done, the pair of you.
She's a nutter. She's an absolute nutter. But yeah.
Did you two meet through the bikes?
No. We
prison. Pen pals. He was writing to her, funny enough.
Yeah. We met years ago. Queen's Jubilee, the last one.
You are the poshest. I thought Tom Ward was the poshest rider we've ever had on. That is out. Sorry, Tom, your title's gone, son. There, Milo Ward. There we go. The Jubilee, dear. Yeah. Let's have a look at your scones.
10 years ago, we met at a street party, but then obviously nothing happened back then or anything. But then as follow each other on social media, blah 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 blah.
Yeah. You stalked her. There.
Found out where she lived and camped there for weeks.
Now, there's a bear on the drive.
Do you know
Go shoo it off.
from your laps with Milky and like in the car and like getting to your first lap in anger, was there any part of the course that would really surprised you that was totally different to what you expected from the advice you were given, or did everything sort of make sense and there was no big surprises?
From what they told me, everything made sense. From what I had worked out myself, I had some big surprises. So like when I was driving round, Cronkavody Straight into Molyneux's looks petrifying.
Yeah.
It looks. I just drive it in the car. I was at, what speed do you go through here, Milky? He was like, you go 6th gear. Some people will just roll in 6. Some will come back a gear and get straight back on it as they tip into Molly's.
Is that like the crest over to the right and then drops down?
You come up and then I was rolling off at the junction, tipping in. As soon as I got to the curbing, back on the power, and then you're coming out of it and it's all over the place. But it's awesome. It's a real cool bit. When I was driving round, I was like, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do this. I was like, I don't see how you could even get round here at 150, 160 miles. It makes no sense. And then the first lap behind Milky, we went through, and I was at fucking best place ever. It was just at that point I was at falling in love with the TT. As soon as I got through that bit on that first lap behind them all, I'd just overtaken Jamie Kringle on the newcomers lap because we were dropping off a little bit. So I just got nipped past Jamie to get in behind Glenn. And we went through that right, and I was at, yes, this is it now. I love this place. I hadn't even got, I'm 10 miles into the course there. And I was at, this is me. I'm here for the next 15 years now. Every year I'm coming back. Because it was so scary driving round, and then I did it. And I was at, that's awesome. That was just straight up awesome. And then I fell in love at Ballaugh jump to Selby Bridge. I fell in love with that section of the course. Ballochry, Quarry Bends. Fell in love with it. Just that.
See, that's what it's about. That you know what I mean? Just going there. That's what it's about.
Like, you're going down Selby Straight, and I'm like, it's a bit bumpy, this, isn't it? And then
a bit?
Yeah. Okay. Obviously, I don't know what it was like before, but it was bad.
Like that before.
And then come around Ginger Hall, and I'm like, everyone said it gets bumpy here now. This is where it gets real bumpy. Jesus Christ, does it get bumpy? Coming into, is it Carramore's that next left, isn't it? And the bike's just going full lock to lock to lock, and I'm like, how am I supposed to ride this?
And it's one of those places that if you do it at 80%, it's the exact same as 100%. You know the bits like that.
I found it better. When I first night of practice, I was coming through like under the trees from up to Glentram, from Carramore to Glentram and that. If you're 80% throttle, you're being bounced and the bike's literally leaving the floor, rears jumping side to side. But the moment you went full throttle, you like skimmed over the top rather than got bounced massively. So it was actually easier to go faster. But getting into your head that I just need to go flat out here, what's strange.
You know, for your first year, I'm going to go back. Go back to old school with you. Go back to old school. Now, you going through college and like going through university and everything, like with this degree that you've got, what's your feedback like? Do you understand the Motec element? Do you know what you want from a bike more with your past experience? Was it a case of like any road race to be blunt? Have you come back and gone, that needs a different spring, that needs a different shock?
I did that first night at TT. We went up on the spring rate just because it was.
You went up, so stiffer. You went stiffer,
yeah,
right?
Stiffer.
And that's from your experience.
Well, the problem we were having was as we were hitting these bumps, I was using all of the travel. And then what was happening was it was getting to the bottom, still bumping, hitting the bumps, and just bouncing me off and lifting the rear wheel off the floor. I was like, well, if I make it stiffer, it's going to be harsher for me as a rider. But we can adjust the rebound and get it to follow the track rather than bounce me up. So I don't know. The thing is, when it comes in, I won't, as a rider and the sort of engineering side, if I was to go to the track with Chrissy, and Chrissy comes in and tells me what he's after, or you, if you told me, just doing this, doing that, I'd work with you and we'd make changes. I sort of know what I'm doing there because I can relate it to my experience.
Yeah.
And have that, the physics side. Whereas when it comes to me as a racer, I won't make my own decisions. I want to come in and tell someone else, my racer side, I try and split them. So the racer side tells you how the bike feels and I want you to make the decision for me. And then I'll go, sit and think and go, yeah, you're right. If you've got logic and can tell me why that's the right thing to do, we'll then do it. But then if I think it's wrong, I'll say, it then starts a conversation of, actually, I think we should do this. And then someone goes, yeah, but if we do this,
You need someone
fully
to challenge.
understand what's going on. I work with a chap, Ed McGladry. He's a real smart bloke. My God, he understands a motorbike so well. And I did a couple of weekends with him. He did the course with me. And he was the best he was so good. He was so clever. But he was able to challenge each other then, and he would always win. He knew more than I knew, like, in terms of the physics and stuff. But then sometimes, as I'm sure you guys know, what might theoretically make sense on paper, and physics says this will be better. As a rider, it's not. Sometimes, you think, oh, the bike needs to be stiffer. We know this is the spring rate that you're going to run here for your weight. Blah blah blah. You send him out, rider hates it. What do? Soften it off again. Make it soft. Give the rider the confidence, and then he'll come back in next 2 sessions and go, I need it stiffer. It's squatting too much on the rear. I need something else. And sometimes it's that rider mentality that helps with that side of things. But for me, I don't want to touch it. I won't touch my bike. Will not touch my bike.
Right, and then like the TC lads. Sorry,
TC,
that's why I asked you mid-question.
So you've got in TC racing, you've got Mick, who's sort of like the main guy, Mick Sharnock, absolute legend. You've got Sam, his better half, who's an absolute lovely lady. You've got this is really.
Gaz.
You got your Gaz. You got John.
Alana.
So John's he's been racing John Torben. JT Racing Services on the Isle of Man.
Yes.
Builds engines, classics. One of the nicest and most knowledgeable blokes I've ever met. He's top bloke. And then Mick runs the team. You got Gaz, you got Alana, who Sam and Alana are sisters. Just a proper little family run.
Yeah.
Great little setup. They all got hearts of gold and just want to have. As they said to me, like, there's no pressure. Ride the bike, come with a smile on your face and have a good time. And that's all I wanted from the TT.
And that must have been such a pressure off, because like you say, you had a plan of turning up on an R6, and then you've got that wealth of experience and knowledge, and not only on that, on a brand new rocket ship of a stock Fireblade. You know what I mean? It's
let's not talk about that new Honda. It is awesome.
Awesome. I thought you were about to go awful there.
No,
Here we go.
No. I've been
Right, so you're not going to be. Wait, you were a ZX10 man.
Always been a Kawasaki boy since 2014. I've not rode anything else other than a Kawasaki.
Is that gone out the window now? Come on, it has, hasn't it?
Like, the Honda is the best bike I ever rode. I went to Derby on the Friday, and someone said to me before, I think it might have been Mickey, said, I've been told these Hondas pretty much ride themselves. I was like, bollocks, no bike rides itself. I jumped on this Honda.
It rode itself.
It fucking rides itself. You just put the throttle in, point where you want to go. It's there.
Right.
With no hassle. And the electronics on it. Dream. You don't even know the electronics are cutting in, apart from the light telling you they're cutting in. You have no idea they're cutting in. Oh, it was amazing. And after jumping off the ZX10, and I like the ZX10 in its window is a class bike.
Yeah.
It's an awesome bike. Outside of that window, though, it's an animal.
Yeah. It's
horrific to ride. But once you got it in that sweet spot, great. And I'm so glad. No offense to any of the Kawasaki boys, the bikes are fantastic. That I wasn't on one at the TT, because I didn't want to mess around with bike setup or anything. TT, I wanted to just concentrate on riding and learning the circuit, and the Honda was the best bike for that.
And like, I briefly spoke to Glenn now, because I didn't even realise that you could go out in every session as a newcomer.
Yeah.
So we could go out in the Super Twin sessions, 600 sessions.
I caught you up in one of the Super. I didn't overtake you because I couldn't bring myself to do it, because I was on a big foul. And you were riding so much better than me through the corners. And
Can we highlight this? Can we highlight that bit, Chrissy? You know them bits you put on Instagram? Go like, you rode so much better. I've never heard a BSB lad say that to me. That's incredible.
As we were coming off the mountain, and we got into Craig, I was like, Alex, like, Dom,
I'm going to kill him.
And we came up to like May Hill and that, and I was like, got right onto the vacuum. We were coming from Clockabony, and you started just pulling away from me around the mid corner. I'm on the big bike, and you're just carrying so much more speed. We hit the brakes into signpost. I was like, right, I'm in striking distance now. I can send it here, and I can overtake Dom. Granted, he's got 100 less horsepower than me, but like, I can overtake Dom. And as we came into like the start of the right,
yeah,
I hit the brakes. I was like, right, what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to dive bomb him into the, to the little right at the bottom because it was huge.
Which is normally a no-no, Chrissy.
Yeah, absolutely a no-no. But because I could have got the power on to drive by it, I was like... But as we hit the brakes into the first part of that right, you just tipped in at such a pace to that right, which you can't see. You can't see where the corner goes. You just sort of tip into that right to drop into like the little side road bit.
Yeah.
You can't see it. You just tipped in with so much pace and commitment. I was like, nah.
You can have it.
That's yours, mate.
Well, thank you for not dive bombing me. Jesus wept, that's class.
I like saw it, so I was like, it's dumb.
He's having it.
But the tell you what, the speed though, when you were out with the Super Twins, the pace we were coming past down the straight, like I think it was Mikko Sweeney. He left quite a few, not too many bikes in front of me. So obviously I got through Balagari and I'm doing 175, 180 mile an hour down to DJs. He's doing 140, 145 at a push. Whoa, you're going past 40 mile an hour quicker.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I tell you what, you learn more from those experiences. Like, in practices, you're thinking, makes you think, where am I going to pass? And you think about racing line because someone else is there.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean? It's like, you're thinking, oh, is he going to dive in here? And you're thinking, and you're doing that so far back. And that's where knowledge and experience talks around there. And that's the best thing about the Isle of Man, both at the Manx and the TT. It's like, you need respect to go to that place. It's not essentially a rideability. It's about like, is this lad going to turn up and take the piss?
Yeah.
And that's what they're working out. And to be fair to the TT organisers, they do an awesome job of vetting lads like you and go, right, come over, do your homework. And if you're not playing by their rules, they'll just kind of look, do one. You know what I mean?
Milky admitted to me the first time I went over, he weren't sure on me.
Right?
He didn't think I would be able to do it. The first time I went over, he didn't think I knew enough. But because it was so, like as I said earlier, so last minute, all this sort of TT stuff coming together, I hadn't done enough homework when I went for that first bit with Milky.
Yeah.
And after that first one, he wasn't sure whether he thought I should be doing it. And he let me come one more time, and I proved that I'd put the effort in. And he was like, right, yeah, and he backed me then.
That's really comforting to hear, if you know what I mean.
But you need that. If someone just gets the ride because they are a class short circuit rider, but then they put no effort in when they turn up, if he kills himself, and if not kills someone else or her, kills themselves and someone else, it could have been avoided.
Of course it could.
And by having people like Milky, Johnny Barton being the guys who are basically vetting and checking, they're teaching you everything to go around. But they're examining you. They're trying to see what you know,
which is great.
I never knew about the simulators. That sounds like a massive sort of safety step forward in that respect.
It's the full lap as well, you know.
Yeah.
There's two. There's a Super Twin one as well, so you can do both Super Twin and big bike.
Yeah.
So give us a quick rundown of your debut year in terms of what your progression was from your 116th first lap. Like, talk us through the practice week and then your results for this.
So my very, very first solo lap was 109. Mint. And then I did 100. But then that night I did 116.5.
Wow. That's
then
a jump.
Did 118. Then I did a 119. Then I did a 121. And then it was the Superbike race 1
so
then.
That by the end of practice week you were up to 121.
121. And then Superbike race 1 I did 122.65. But, we'll round it up. 122.7.
You can't round up on this show. Facts are facts, son. You can't.
No, it's throwing stuff around. It's
rich energy you're throwing around.
It's a 6.5. It's 5 at the end there. Therefore, I'm rounding that up.
Yeah, go for it.
I did my maths. I know what I'm doing. And then I never went any faster. The super stock race was the hardest race I've ever taken part in. It was only a 3-lap race. This first 6 lap I found dead easy. I loved it. That hour and 54 minutes or 55 minutes I was on the bike was like, oh, I've finished. That's a shame. Went out that Saturday night. Didn't do anything on the Sunday. Monday I waited all day because the race got delayed. I went out on any other bike. And I went out and it took me a lap and a half to even be able to comprehend the speed I was going at. Could not concentrate. I was still doing 120 mile an hour laps on from a standing start. But I could not get my head up to speed. So I was just out and have to just cruise. I cannot figure this out. So I was just going round, but it just felt so fast. And the last lap, I felt good again. And then we took, so I never went any faster. I set faster sectors, but never went any faster overall. So then we had 5 days off till the Saturday.
Yes.
And I did nothing. I didn't go for, because I was going to go for the warm-up lap on the Friday.
Yeah, because of the delays with the wind.
Because of the delays, we never had that warm-up lap on the Friday.
No.
And then...
Look, you know what? A part of me is glad he didn't do that. No, solely because you woke up, went racing. You know, it's like, I think we haven't really discussed the warm-up lap. It was massive. It was because you don't know anything different. You know what I mean? I think it's like a wasted conversation at the moment.
I understand why people are against it, because it's traditional and, you know, you woke up, you went racing. But at the same time, if on that Saturday when we were on the grid to go for that senior race, they came over the tannoy and they went, okay, everyone, the wind is very high, but from the travelling marshal, they said it's no worse than yesterday.
Yeah.
Which was great, apart from I didn't go out the day before because I weren't in the Super Sport.
Yeah.
And I hadn't had a warm-up lap. So I went that first lap, having never ridden the TT in windy, blustery conditions, to do the senior. I took off at Crosby and I went, do you know what, I might just sort of sit in the middle here, because I'm not sure what the wind's like. And I ended up 3 foot over to the right when I landed. And I went, this is mental.
Yeah.
And if I'd had that warm-up lap, I could have been a bit more prepared. We were very lucky that there wasn't anything major went on that first lap. With the wind, because I remember going up to like the bike was wheeling like there's no tomorrow. It was so much harder to handle and move over, and you know your neck and your back were taking so much more of a beating. And I cut up to the mountain, and over the mountain mile, I'm barely hitting 6th gear. I'm just barely going anywhere. Tip into windy corner. I did the same thing as every other lap that I've done through the practice week. Come back into 4th, went to tip in. I went nowhere near that apex. The bike just did not tip in. I was at, oh, fuck.
That was your fastest lap of the week, that lap you're talking about as well, wasn't it?
First lap of senior?
First lap of senior was your fastest lap of the week.
You fucking mad bastard.
Well, my last one would have been even quicker, but I didn't make it.
Those pesky walls.
No one's
Oh, no, it was like the wind just, you not feel it. Like, my mate was watching it, like, black dub, and the barriers were, like, moving.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I went through there, the valley opened up and just lifted me wide, and that's what happened to me. But it was bad. But
did you struggle with the wind on the first lap, or did you?
Oh, yeah.
Fair play. You must have been on for like a 132. If you hadn't been for that wind,
they reckon I was on for me 130.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, well.
Next time, mate.
Case there are. I'm looking. But I tell you what, briefly before finishing that, I totally agree with you. Like, as a tradition side, I'm glad you did wake up and go. But as a safety element, I totally agree with you. And things are going to move forward. I think the warm up lap is crucial for those moments.
It's a great idea. It's a shame it didn't happen.
Would you have pulled in if you did a warm up lap and it was like that? Would you have gone out and seen it?
Yeah, because when I went out in senior, I did 122 again, I think.
Mint. Mate, that is outstanding.
But I didn't even attempt to push or do anything like that. I just was like, this is 6 more laps of the Isle of Man TT. I'm not going to be able to do it for another year because I haven't got a classic ride. I was like, I'm just going to go out, just going to ride, and this will put me up to, I think I did 34 laps during those 2 weeks. I got so many laps in. I was like, that puts me in a better position for next year to continue my learning. And so I was like, I'm just going to go out, ride round. I gave myself loads more room, even more than usual, like coming through at the 11th and all that. Just gave myself plenty of space, out Big Arrow, top and bottom, loads of room. Just so that if the wind did catch me, I had that space to make that mistake.
Yeah. So you've got the respect of the place. And this is great to hear. You know what I mean?
What position did you finish the senior?
22nd. So I got.
You're welcome. It would have been 23rd without me.
It would have been better if I was in the top 20. I would have got some cash.
Is that top 20? The
top 20 got cash. So I got 17th in Superbike.
Outstanding.
Race 1. I got 31st in Super Stock. Because not as many people broke down in that one.
No, but arguably that's the hardest race because it's the stock race, and you haven't got the
and then 22nd in the final race in the senior.
Fantastic.
And
by the way, I loved the little subtle because I don't have a ride for the classic.
Let's talk about that.
And if anyone wants to give me a ride, I'm here for it.
Have you got an entry?
No. We can get you a ride. We'll get you in because they need people like me 24. I've got years of TT ready to go in the future. We need to get me as many laps as we can now to be safe and fast for the future. Because at the moment, if you look at in the nicest way, if we look at it, is aging the right word?
Yeah.
It's getting slightly older. The top boys at the moment now.
If you take the average age of the top 10, it's
much higher than at BSB or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's much higher. So they need fast, safe, younger riders to come in.
Just on that, and obviously from your lived experience, do you think there should be a minimum? What do you think the minimum age for doing the TT should be?
It's got to be 18 or 21. It can't be. Obviously, I think you can't do it at 16. Can you? Can you do the Manx at 16?
No, you.
I think it's 18, isn't it?
Sorry,
I think it's 18. Google the minimum age.
Do you think you
going to buy her a laptop?
I weren't ready.
I was going to say, do you think you were mature enough?
No, not at all. I wasn't ready till this year. Maybe last year I could have risked it, but it might have been more on the fence. This was the first year I would say that I was ready to go and do it. Some riders might mature into that mindset earlier. Yeah. Some might be later. The people, to me, who've got to make that decision, it's not down to the riders. It needs to be down to the people who know the riders and the liaison officers, like your Milky and your Barty and what they're doing at the moment.
It's like you say.
But I don't know whether Manx is on that side of things. Yeah. I didn't come up that route.
No, but in the same breath, like you say, it's like the good thing is all the systems are vetted. If it's a bit like, let's be blunt, if some, millionaire brat, here we go, Zoe has the answer.
It's 18 for the TT.
18 for the TT. What about the Manx?
Oh, God damn it.
Well, that answer's coming there. No, but
I think the youngest person ever to do the TT is Joey Thompson, isn't it?
At 18, wasn't he?
Was he?
16.
Yeah, 16 for the Manx.
No.
Nah, it can't be.
Oh,
the pressure.
pressure's on. No, but the good thing is all these systems are vetted. You know what I mean? Like put it. Well, my God, I tell you what, speaking of, it was actually Joe Loughlin, and he tried to get an entry into the TT or the Manx even, but they wouldn't let him because he was doing, first getting the race, and all he wanted to do was the Manx, and he was going through the motions as such, crash.
He's a class lad.
He's a class lad, really nice lad. But he was very open with me and said, look, because of that, and now he's, Northwest podium, he's done this and done that, and he's showing his capability, and he's a pilot and a half, and they've given him a TT entry. Yeah. So it's nice that those systems, both at the Manx and the TT, are in play again. Look, son. But then you're taking the piss here.
The thing is here, if you looked at this year, you could argue that the younger riders, it's not always a bit. We lost experienced riders this year.
No. That is the Isle of Man, and sadly you're going to learn.
There's no luck in. There's luck and there's not luck involved in this, isn't there?
The Isle of Man is such an enigma that you can't put a cap on it.
Yeah.
Just on that subject, did you find obviously in terms of danger, it's a step in from what you have been doing to what you're doing now, and it must feel a lot more it brings it a lot more real when you're in the paddock when there's multiple fatalities. Were you how did you find that experience, and were you comfortable with dealing with it?
I guess it's the same thing as everywhere. The risks are there when we're on a short circuit. It's higher at the roads, but it's still there. It's never going to happen to me. That's the mentality that you just sort of get in your head, and you do. I have my set routine before I go out. How I get dressed, what I eat for breakfast, everything's the same. I get on the bike on the same side, all that sort of stuff. Just because then I know everything's the same. So the only deciding factor when I go out on the bike is me as a rider. Mm-hmm. And if I do everything in my head that I say I'm going to do, which is going to ride safe, I'm going to give myself the room, and I'm going to learn, and I'm going to respect the TT course, then apart from that freak percent that could happen, bike failures, whatever, if I tick off everything that I'm doing and I don't do anything wrong, I'm going to be fine. And that's the sort of way I went at it, is if I do everything the same every time and just do what I need to do to be safe and be fast and respect and learn, then I'm going to be safe. Mm-hmm. So therefore the risk is no different to being at short circuit. Nothing. I didn't have, bar the windy corner where I sort of ran out a bit wide, and at Molyneux's one lap I did a bit of a big wheelie. I had no other moments for the round the course. It was just chip away, do what I need to do, and that was the mentality I took. And if anything did happen, I was prepared for it. It could happen. It could happen to all of us while we're over there. Just couldn't do everything I can to make sure it's not me.
Yeah.
But if it happens, well, at least I'm going out doing what we wanted to do.
That's the thing. Like for me, it's like that mentality of like it won't happen to me. It for me, and I think you're probably going to agree with me when I say this, is you just want to be on the bike, and you just like I just want to go fast. Yeah, you just think like, let's just get like come on, let's go. It's never that shit, this could happen, that could happen. It's just like I want to go.
If you start thinking like it,
you shouldn't be there.
You won't be there.
You shouldn't be there.
The moment you realise that how stupid what we're out there doing is, you'd walk away. But while the love and enjoyment factor of doing that, you're there and you're doing it, is there.
One thing I found fascinating, a little bit from the podcast, but also from spending a little bit of time with him at the TT and doing that lap, is with Davo, and when the amount of sort of the thought and the seriousness that like Davo, he just seemed like obsessed with whenever there was a fatality or serious accident, he has to know in his mind exactly what happened, what it caused, and the intricate things that have went on to make sure that crash, and he's like obsessed with it, and therefore, and the reason why he's so obsessed is so he knows he doesn't want to make the same mistake. To me, that makes perfect sense.
I'm completely with him there. Sadly, I've not been able to. I've found out some of them, more the sidecar stuff, what's happened in terms of Dave Morgan's crash and Mark's crash. I don't know what happened. And I would love to know, because if I know what's happened, and when I've been like learning the track and stuff, I've been learning from people telling me when I've gone round, thingy crashed there, and I'm like, okay, how? Because if I know what he did or she did wrong, I cannot do that, and we can learn. You learn from your mistakes. Well, I don't want my mistake to be my last mistake, so let's learn from other people in the nicest way. You want to know, because then you can go. Every time we go to that corner, I remember going into every time I went around Ballagary after we lost Mark. I said, "Look after me, Mark." I knew him not amazingly, but I knew him enough to talk to have that, and wanted him to, look after me while I was going through there. And that was that sort of bit with it. And if we can learn from, we only develop as humans by learning from mistakes. We've got to learn from others to stop us repeating the same thing, haven't we?
Yeah.
So I see why he does that. I completely see, and fair play. But they don't often release everything to us.
Yeah,
because riders like the inquest and that, they know, and I get it why you don't want the general public now.
Exactly, and the thing you put a drop in the water and the sharks come, and that's life in general. If you hear one bit of information, it spreads. And I think it's good that they don't release that information.
Agreed,
what I mean? And
not everyone needs to know about
exactly, and the important people need to know about it.
Yeah.
Like the families and the teams and stuff. But it's but no, it's
it's the sorrowful side of what we do.
Yeah,
it is. But that's also the thrill of it is
the thing is, like, it's truly one of the last sports in the world that no one can make you do it. You've got to love to want to do it. And the people we talked about briefly at the beginning of the pod, the fact that people have gone, I'll give it a go, and not want to do it again. And you think that is it. They've got the strength to go, I don't want to do it. And you think, fair play. But it's an island that, and that track and that race circuit is just like the last beacon of freedom. It's like the fact that I want to do it, and that they are kind enough to let us just, there you go, son. And that tap on the shoulder, and when he lifts it, he goes, that's 37 miles to go play on.
Yeah.
And you think, wow, you don't get that anywhere else in the world. Like in any other sport and stuff like that, like especially motorsport in general, you can get a lot of like, we take the piss, but the motocross dad thing, like, I want my son to be the next, like this and that and that. And you can almost see the forced nature of that, but not with the roads. And
no one forced you to go and do it. And you do this because you want to.
And it's almost like that solace when the worst does happen. It's the fact that everyone does retract back to the moment of going, they wanted to be there, and everyone knows they wanted to be there, and you think that is it doesn't make it any easier, but it's the fact that they wanted to be there.
Yeah.
I think that's
everyone. Yeah, no one's forced to be there. You really, the stuff you have to jump through to be able to go there.
yeah,
There's plenty of times you can back out.
yeah. Of course, you can.
So
That's the thing.
everyone who went there and does it, it was their dream to go and do it. And I'll tell you what, though, I said to someone the other day, I feel like the TT organisers are basically now they're a drug dealer for me now. They're giving me the first little bit. They've been like, there you go, son. You
Milo
go and have
Ward.
some of this. I've snozzed it straight, so I've gone out, done my laps, and I've come back like that. Right, how much have I got to pay to do more of this? Whatever I've got, you can have.
I tell you what, I'm looking forward to 2023 news in January. Milo Ward refused entry for the TT.
Oh,
We've got a few Patreon questions. Before I get them up, I know one of them was, and I'll find out who it was from in a sec, but one of them was, have you got a ride sorted for next year, team sorted?
Still looking for a classic TT ride. If anyone's, is that no? Is all serious? Is that in all classes? Is that in like
I'd like the 750 class.
Superbike class?
Superbike class,
Yeah,
if
you
I
want the Premier class of me, of course.
Yeah, TT Superstar now.
Oh, we didn't even. Let's briefly talk about that. You won. Let's talk about the award you won.
Oh yeah, I won the RST TT Star of Tomorrow award.
Which was a big pair of gold gloves that
It
don't
was a
fit
big
him.
pair of gold gloves. They look
That's
like
cool.
Thanos gloves. Like from the.
Are you keeping them as a trophy, or can you wear the gloves?
They're the wrong size.
Oh, they're-
You know,
You'll squeeze into them.
I've got big shovel hands.
It's still cool trophy to have.
Oh, it is awesome. It is a properly cool. It's sat at home with my 3 replicas. I got 3 bronze reps.
Outstanding.
And I got 2 best newcomers because Glenn pulled out of 2 races, so I was top newcomer.
Don't laugh about that. That's class. You just hold it, son. You hold on to it.
I
That's amazing.
got these awesome stuff, and so yeah,
Class.
I absolutely. It was I believe it was picked by like the organisers and that, and you know, I got. You know, no one blowing smoke at my ass, but people was telling me like you've done this the right way, and it was really good to hear that the approach I'd taken that's what they wanted to see.
Good.
Because no one tells you the right approach. You just got to go do it. And
Yeah.
so to get rewarded with this award and
Definitely.
you know, get that, it was mega, and you know, a bit more faith in me from
Good.
other people, which builds you up a bit more, and you're sort of like, right, I can do this. I can go and be a good road rider and go and enjoy this and see what happens in the future.
Good.
Do you have a particular like aspiration that you want to tick off, like either winning a race or doing a certain lap speed or anything in the future, or are you just taking everything in your stride?
The newcomer one was I wanted to do 120.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to do. Whether it was realistic or not, I didn't know. But I thought if I could join the 120s,
Yep. You're onto something.
yeah, I'm doing all right. I'm happy.
First time.
And I did that, and now I guess the goal is just to go faster next time. You know, if results come with that in 3, 4, 5 years' time, excellent. If they don't, I don't care. I'm riding the Isle of Man TT circuit. Like, I'm there, I'm doing the 37 3/4 miles, I'm doing 180 mile line between houses. I could come last, I'd be chuffed. It's just a proper track.
Class, man. Class. And now we're going to unleash you onto the world of patrons. Go for it.
Yeah, I've got a few Patreon questions.
Brace yourself.
So 2 of the boys who helped and sponsor the team were patrons of you.
Yes.
Your JD Coke story from your Nathan.
Yes.
Max.
Max.
With Max and his dad, that they were part of our team. They'd sponsored money into the team.
Oh, fantastic.
Top
Well, it's
blokes.
actually Max that asked about any plans on who he'll be riding for next year's TT.
What was that, Longshanks?
Yeah,
I'm only saying that because it's pissing them off.
yeah. At the moment, no. There's opportunities with TC Racing, but you know it's the budget at the moment. So when I left BSB, I lost all my sponsors. So everything for the TT this year has been out of my mum and dad, my nan and my gramps. I've chucked money in. And we've ran out of everything. So
Yeah.
without that sort of thing coming in, at the moment we can't afford to go and race. But that doesn't mean nothing's going to not come up over the next few weeks. I'm going to do everything I can to go and to do it, and then fingers crossed we'll be there. So
Yeah.
if I can ride with the TC boys again, I bloody well will. They were legends. Absolutely,
Yes.
the whole guys were legends. If other things come up and there's different opportunities, then I'm certainly going to explore them all. And as long as it can be on a safe and fast bike, safety key, fast being second, then I'm happy.
Yeah.
I like it.
Jess Moore was asking any closer to getting a ride on the classics yet, so we've sort of went through that.
People think we're trying to plug it for him. You know, this is all natural. This is all natural.
CJ Pepe from New York, who was over
New
at the
York.
I don't know if he came and introduced himself, but
You will next time, by the way. Now you've been on the show, he'll just come running at you. So
said, which TT veteran gave you the best piece of advice during your fortnight, and what was it? Ooh. So take sort of Milky and Barton out of the equation.
It was John.
McGuinness.
It was Mr. Big Dog himself. Yeah.
What did he say to you?
Lend us 20 quid.
No, Zoe's family came over and we went down to Jack's. I think it was on the Monday night. Sat there about to order my food and I get a tap on my right shoulder from her going, look up. I look up and John's just walked in with his family and just come up to the table and had a chat with me. I'm sweating buckets at this point. Like, it's John.
Totally fangirl.
Yeah, it's John, and he's like, how you find it? He was just like, look, same advice. It's the same bit of advice from everyone, but hearing it from him was really, really special. It was like, enjoy it, have a smile on your face, don't feel any pressure, and just go out and enjoy the whole thing that we've been doing for so long for. Yeah, it was just a top. It was just the fact he came over to me, and he sent me a message on Twitter as well. He sent me a DM. I told you the other day, he followed me on Instagram. John McGuinness followed me on Instagram.
Screenshot that. I'll just send that.
I felt like a right legend.
Class, man.
Class.
That was.
Did he just send you a message just to say well done? Or?
Yeah, just sent me a message on like first night of practice, second night of practice, just saying, you had a real good first day. Keep it steady, keep it safe.
I tell you what, that's
how cool is that?
Unreal. But
so good.
Everyone, like even when I first announced it, David Todd sent me a message. Peter Hickey sent me a message. All these boys sent me a message saying like, "You're gonna love this. Good luck. Enjoy it. And if you want any advice, come ask."
Class.
That's the one thing. As soon as this has been the biggest thing coming from BSB, where I was sort of mid to back. Apart from the odd flare up in stock foul, that's where I was. You didn't really speak to all these big names and stuff because I wasn't battling with them. I wasn't there with them. So you nod in the paddock and that. I got on TT and I'm certainly not battling with them at the TT or anything. But because I'm there, all of a sudden you've got that sort of like bond. You sort of like join the TT, the niche TT riders like in a club that no one ever speaks about. And also everyone will you're there, you'll talk to you, and it's really welcoming. The actual road guys have been awesome. It's so much nicer. It's a nicer place to be than BSB, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. It was just people were so much more friendly, and I guess that's because you're risking so much. It's like it's not worth any of that sort of like
aggro kind of thing.
Yeah, everyone's just dead sound, and everyone was awesome, and it was definitely John. Just sort of. Well, he could have told me you shit or something like that, and I'd just been like, John spoke to me.
Class.
Have you got anything else to wrap things up with today?
No. Thank you very much for making the journey up, kids. That's absolutely class, and congratulations. Welcome to the big boy table at the TT. There you go.
Just to say, it is sold out now, but we've got the Bennett's Track Day coming up on the 27th of July, Wednesday the 27th of July, and they've also, if you just Google like Bennett's Track Days, they've just added another one to the calendar later on in the year at Brands Hatch. So if you check that out, and we've got obviously a bit of a break. This will be going out like a week on Sunday, so we've still got quite a few weeks, or I've got quite a few weeks until the next BSB brand, so just getting prepared for that. And you haven't really got any racing coming up anytime soon, have you?
No, I've got a new job starting tomorrow, so just get me some money in, so it's no longer on the sofa for a little bit while I'm recovering.
Is the recovery all going okay?
Yeah, no, it's I'm getting better every time, because I've been up and down to see Aidan Robinson at ITRM, and the man makes you scream in pain, but then you walk out feeling a lot better. It's the man is a godsend, he really is. So it's unfortunately I'm just chucking my money at him, and it's well spent. But no, so it's just waiting on to the next chapter. So I just want to see how I recover first.
Just a quick one. Have you been using I know Aidan's big into the red light therapy.
Yeah, I've been using that. Yeah.
What exactly is that? Because I was trying to explain. Have you ever used red light therapy? I'm not entirely sure what it is, but you use it.
You see, you know what? It's hard to explain because I'm far from a scientist.
It sounds a bit suspicious, don't it, red light therapy? If this was Amsterdam or something, this would be very difficult.
Mate, do you really think I'd be worried about my tyre bill if there was a red light therapy? That's selling it. But it's it's a case of like, you know what? I have no idea how it works. I know nothing, but I am a believer of it.
Is it like a sauna? Like, do you sit in?
No, it's like essentially like a sunbed. You know what I mean? It's like a light therapy, but for like your blood vessels. Like, so it's not injecting vitamins, but it's. I don't know how it works, but I tell you what, when I opened up my head with a chainsaw, the stitches were out weeks and weeks prior to it. Like, I've had stitches my entire life, operations, and they just take ages to heal. Now, I tell you what, the best example was I was using red light therapy like earlier on. That was like a really small box, like on a like, you know, like the coiled up electric wires with a little lamp. Like, it was tiny. The technology was like pretty much brand new. I lost that finger in a week and a half later. I was in China racing. The stitches were already out, like within 4 days.
Is it a bit like the did you ever have the laser therapy in that when you like break a bone and that you go to your bone doctor down in Ipswich?
Yeah, it's exactly what happened for like
Brian Simpson.
Yeah.
It's essentially like that. You know what I mean? But it's like I am a believer in it. I really am.
Mate, if you're getting the results,
it's
something to be looked at, isn't it?
Wait, that's it's
you do anything to get back on a bike though, don't you?
Of course you do. You know, you do feel like an idiot just stand in front of a red light for like 20 minutes on a go, but it's like, you know what, you're there to get it done. And it's, for me, it's the actual speeding of the healing that works. I can see it. Now, if you stood there with like a bad back and just stood in red light therapy, you're like, well, that was a waste of time. But when you're getting physical, like surgery operations, but like for this, that was so quick. Like the actual scar tissue, obviously because of the extent of the damage, I need several more surgeries to get it fixed. But the first thing I'll be doing is like coming straight in off the surgery, straight onto the red light. Straight onto it. I just believe in it.
Sounds like you're trying to pay for the racing.
No. I tell you, no, but that's the thing. Like, I haven't discussed it. It's Chrissy that's brought it up. I just think it's I don't know what it does. I don't know how it does it. There's a lot like red light rising or red light therapy. Have a look at like Aidan Robinson's.
I'm just gonna Google it. I am.
Yeah, like on Instagram, type in RTRM or Aidan Robinson. Have a look. He obviously uses the equipment and yeah. Don't know how it works, but I believe in it.
Is he based down
Doncaster?
Doncaster, yeah.
Unreal. Now the thing is, he works for like motorcycle races and like Chrissy's recommended him. Like Chrissy has his own teams up here, but it's hard to find people specifically in motorcycle racing.
Aye.
He works from like motocross riders, like CJ. You know, he knows when if you came in and said, "I've had a high side at this corner at that speed," he's actually already assessing your body, going, I kind of know what to happen. Aiden's on exactly the same. You know, he goes, like, I had a crash. I hit a wall at 110 mile an hour. He's like, that's going to be fun. And that's going to be fun. And it's that kind of element. Yeah. You're not going down the road, opening up the door and go, I've had a low side and choked my arm under a bike and this happened. I'm like, eh? And you're trying to explain it.
Yeah.
So, no, them people are invaluable. Absolutely invaluable. But no, I'm a believer, Chrissy.
And before we wrap things up, if anyone wants to sort of follow your progress and what's the best social?
Thanos.
Yeah, definitely Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all Milo Ward Racing. I think it's Milo Ward Racing on Instagram and Twitter, and then maybe Milo Ward Racing 41 on Facebook.
And if you have a classic superbike,
and if you have a classic superbike and you are desperately looking for a big, large, fat rider, I'm your man.
I'm not available, so that Milo is there.
Come and grab me. I'm desperate. But yeah,
class.
Yeah, no, please follow the journey.
Yeah,
awesome. Who knows what's going to happen?
Excellent, and massive thank you to our sponsors, Colchester Kawasaki, to all of our patrons, and we'll look forward to be back next week with another guest. So thanks very much. And
I say who's the next hit? We don't even know. We're still winging it.
Thanks so much for making the journey up, and safe journey home. Catch up with you both soon.
See you in a bit.
Chasin The Racin. Powered by Colchester Kawasaki, part of the Global Moto Group. We supply new Aprilia, Moto Guzzi, Vespa, Royal Enfield, Kawasaki, Sim, Mutt and Benelli motorcycles.